I learned that lesson. All righty.
Derek, obviously Joey Bosa.
I was waiting. Oh,
I know. Some words to say after the game.
yeah.
Just
I love Joey, and he knows that. You know, we've gone back and forth. He was probably mad because I was talking a lot of crap to him during the game. It was an emotional day for them. I saw a lot of things about their whole team after, and good thing it's a new week. He's entitled to that opinion and saying those things, but it's almost like he watched the game in reverse. You know what I'm saying? The game that I watched, we came out and fought a little bit after they got after us a little bit up front. So it's fine. The opinions I care about is what Gru and Ole told me, when I came in the building yesterday and today. And it will always be that way, especially what my teammates think about me. But we'll see them again. And he's entitled to say that. He's a great player, great dude. I just don't think he watched the game in the same order I did.
I was going to ask you about that because it does appear that you're playing better in the second half after taking some hits. Statistics show that. Is that something confusing to you? That
I just thought it was unfortunate that he'd even think to say it. Maybe he's just trying to get under my skin, which he did piss me off. So good job for that. But that's not a bad thing either.
Obviously, the Bears have a familiar face that you know about up front, but what collectively your defensive front, what makes them challenging?
Oh yeah. They got a certain edge rusher. He's pretty good, but they also have one on the other side, and Robert Quinn is a heck of a player. He's been a big sack guy in the NFL, outstanding speed and get off. Akeem in the middle, not only Akeem, but I mean they got some great players in the middle. Big, strong, physical players. The linebackers, both veterans, can run, hit. Can cover, have made big plays in the passing game. Secondary-wise, they got new corners, new starters, I should say. Whenever we played them last year, it was Fuller and Amukamara, or not last year, but in London. Since then, they got new corners and good players, super competitive. The safeties, if 38 plays or not, but they're good on the back end. So it's one of the more challenging defenses we'll face. All season. And you love that. You love, especially coming off a loss, your eyes get opened a little bit to some things that maybe we could have done better, and you get excited for the challenge that, is out in front of you the next time. And we get to do it at home, so that's good too.
Obviously, you're very close with Lil. You played in London. This is the first time that he'll be, against a Raider crowd. Can you go back to the trade and your thoughts then? Have they changed over the years? I'm sure you've kept in touch with him. He's still a good friend of yours.
Oh, yeah.
What went down then?
I know some things about that guy nobody else knows. He's one of my best friends in the whole world. I love him to death. He knows that. It's no secret. Everyone knows how close we are. That's not hidden in any way. Not only is he one of the best players, living in the world today, he's one of the best people. And when that trade happened, it broke my heart. I think we're far enough away from it now, to where we can talk about it a little bit. Then you're like, well, we got to move on. I'm like, golly, I'm gonna miss that guy, and I still miss him. I love that guy to death, and more so the person, right? I think you guys know. I mean, he was a great guy to be around, great teammate. But yeah, that trade definitely broke my heart, man. But we've gotten a lot of good players from that trade, and some good teammates, good dudes here, and that's not. Me loving him and missing him has nothing to do with the guys that we have here, because I love these guys too, again, he's one of my best friends, but I can't wait to see him because I'm not going to stop talking to him the whole game.
Was that a deal that, I know you knew that the NFL was always a business, but when something like that happens and somebody that good and somebody that close to you gets traded like that, is it kind of reaffirmed that this really is just a business here?
Oh, 100% business, because the way we did my contract and the way we did, Gabe did his, and we were trying to make it to where we were all staying, and so it was more of a shock to us to where no, this thing's just a business. So that's why when the contract stuff, all that stuff comes I don't get into that anymore, because when I let my emotions get in there, it don't help. My best friend is gone, a lot of my friends are gone, and so for me, you easily take that situation and say, yeah, it's all business. And I don't know what happened. I have an idea of some things that hopefully I'll get to know someday, but right now those things don't matter when it comes to this game.
Derek, you had a front row seat to the maturation of Colton into one of the best left tackles in all football. Alex is going through some tough things as a rookie that Colton went through, but do you see those same qualities in Alex that you saw in Colton early in his career?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the hard part about some of the positions that some guys play in football, whether it's quarterback or tackle, corner, we always remember that one play, right? We always remember that one play, and not one play ever breaks a game, right? Everyone looks at the end and says, well, that's the one that, well, there's 13 other plays that if we just executed, it wouldn't even have mattered, So it sounds so cliche, but it's so true. Like, yeah, he maybe gave up one or two plays there, but I also saw him a couple other times slamming some dudes on the ground, especially some guys that were talking, right? He was doing that too. So when it's the NFL, guys on their defensive line, especially the Chargers, you look at 42, obviously Bosa, those are great players. They're really good. They're going to win sometimes. And you just hope when they win, the ball's gone or it's not a fumble as you're throwing the ball or things like that. But that's the stuff that gets pointed out, right? And that's a part of being a rookie too. You just, especially when you're a rookie, things just happen and you're like, why'd that happen to me? Why? In his head, he's probably like, man, if only Derek threw it just a little earlier, like it wouldn't have been a fumble, all those kind of things. So, but he never even acts like that. I see the same characteristics in Alex that I saw in Colton is they stay quiet. And when they go on that football field, it's all business. I mean, you guys have seen him. I mean, he's all business all the time. I haven't, I've tried to make him laugh a few times and, we've had some good times. But when it comes to in between those white lines, he is strictly business. And that is a great sign going forward.
How do you handle defeat in year 8 now?
Well, it still sucks, I don't kick my dog, I think I handle it honestly better. It's not easier to handle now, but I think I go through my process better instead of soaking in it, because I think about every play. It's hard to go to sleep the night, that night after a game, especially after you lose. When you win, you're just thankful and you just go to sleep, but usually, even after wins, really, you just replay the things that didn't go right, and so I think I handle it better, but I also don't, act like an idiot, you got to move on and get ready for the next one, especially on a short week. It's not like you lost and it's a bye week and now you have to think about it the whole time, right? It's literally, we lost, I woke up, I barely got any sleep, and I'm already driving in here to get my drive to take home to start my film, for Chicago. And, it's literally, that's how this business is, whether it's good or bad. And I think some of our young guys are learning, like, wow, it really, as soon as that game is over, you have to get on to the next one. That's how important it is. So I think I handle it better. It still hurts. It still pains my heart. I get frustrated. Maybe my wife says I get a little quiet, but you'd rather win, that's for sure.
Something I heard you say a couple of weeks ago is something that's the only thing that's harder than being a rookie offensive tackle is being a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Would you say with going up against Justin Fields, do you think your defense might smell, for lack of better terms, like some blood in the water going up against him?
I think any time you play a rookie quarterback as a defense, they're talking about he's a rookie, so there's some things he just hasn't seen yet. There's some things that he hasn't experienced yet, and that isn't a knock on him as a player. It's just experience at this level, right? I think he's a heck of a player. I think he's talented, gifted physically. You see things mentally. I watched him a little bit in the preseason when we had time, and the game was on, him going through reads and going through progression, so you see the understanding is there. I've heard nothing but great things about him. And I know Flip, Coach Flip being there, how he helped me with Ole here. I know he's doing the same thing there for Justin. And Justin has 2 veteran quarterbacks in that room that are great people that are helping him, And so he's going to be ahead of most because of the situation around him, And so, I don't know. He started last week. I don't know if he's starting this week. I don't know their situation. But if he is, I don't know if you smell blood in the water. There's just things. It's just a fact for any rookie. Every game I was going into, I know I was seeing something new every time. And so he'll see a new coverage or a new blitz or a new thing, and or he'll go through his progression. Oh, that's usually there. Now he's going to have to get out. Those kind of things. Then, whether he makes the decision or not, he's a rookie. So you hope for our sake, he doesn't do it the right way. But he is a great player, and he has a bright future, man. The guy's super talented.
There was a taunting call on Darren Waller.
Yeah.
Could have gone either, whatever. about that, but is it worth having a conversation, you know, amongst players in terms of, you know, whatever the NFL is trying to prove or whatever they're doing with that rule,
Yeah.
to stay within those lines, because it can have a big effect. That actually did have a fairly big effect.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So we definitely talked about it. We talked about it when the refs were here, and they always play a video for us, and we watched it, and they said as long as you're not like mocking somebody. You don't, you know, like in the Super Bowl, you saw the guy getting Tyreek's face, and you know they don't want to see that stuff and stuff like that. But guys showing emotion and things like that, like Darren Waller is not trying to show anybody up, you know. And he caught an amazing catch and got blasted down the red zone, spiked the ball, and there was no flag. And I'm like, what is the difference, you know, in both plays? You know, one just happened to be in the middle field, and the other one just happened to be on their sideline. But he's not looking at anybody. So the way it was told to us as players exactly was just don't do it towards another player. And I don't think he was doing that. So hopefully, you know, again, it's a ref's decision, too, the angle they're looking at, you know, what they think he's looking at. I mean, they're human, too. You know, they're trying their best. You know, I'm not, you know, not saying that we're all perfect players and all kind of stuff like that. But at the same time, there's got to be some kind of accountability, because that was big for us. You know, every moment in that second half going on was huge for us, you know, especially on that play. But, you know, you hope when rules like this are new, you see more consistency as the year goes on.
Derek, you touched on Alex, but on the offensive line as a whole, you look at your passing numbers, they're still up there leading the league, and we're in the top 2 or 3 in certain categories. But when you look at pressures and sacks and rush per attempt, some of the worst in the league. Is it something that you sort of just go, okay, this is a weak spot, we're gonna have to deal with it? Or do you every week go in and say, hey guys, we gotta get better? Where's your thought? Yesterday John said there's no panic button.
Yeah.
Where's your thought on the whole unit?
Yeah, there's no panic. There's definitely things we have to do better from a communication standpoint that would solve a lot of problems. There's been spurts where we've done it really well, and there's been spurts where we haven't all been on the same page. And Coach Cable always talks about when we're all on the same page, you know, usually there's good results. I think I let my frustration out too, because there was a couple plays where we had a couple miscommunications, and there's big play opportunities, you know, and especially in a game like that. You know, you wish to have those plays back, but you don't get those chances again. So going forward, there's no panic, but we just continue to see, okay, what do we need to do better? So we talked about a few things in the building today, and we went out to the practice field and we did those things better today. We made them an emphasis, and that's all you do when you're a professional athlete is you play the game, you go to the next. What do we need to do better? Let's emphasize that this week in practice, and it's something that you continue to strive for, and you continue to get guys that hear the message and can execute the message. And I think that today was one of our better days of doing that. So it was exciting to see, but we have to go do it, on a game day.
Derek, who's got it?
I'll get you both.
You and Khalil had the ongoing gag. I don't even know if it was a gag or not, as far as who was faster, who would win in a race. Did you guys ever, A, have that race, and B, do you not want to have it this weekend? Because that would mean that he's chasing you out of the pocket.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I hope. We never had the race. I think we both know who would win that. Deep down, I think he knows. But I don't want to stir that pot. Khalil, you're faster, bro. You got it. Make him feel all good about it this week. But no, we never had that race. But we definitely competed at a lot of other stuff. And I may or may not have dunked on him in the pool, but we'll see. We'll see if he tells the truth.
Besides being 3-1 as a captain on this team, what are you most encouraged about that you don't think is getting enough attention?
Honestly, the early success, that we had to go in the first quarter, go 3-1, that's a great feat. We always, in today's culture, we highlight bad things all the time, and it gets a little sickening. I'm sure some of you guys hate to turn on the news like me. Like sometimes, like, oh my gosh, like I got to get my kids out of the room because I don't even want them to hear half this stuff. It's like, man, let's highlight some of the good things. Obviously there's things that can always be corrected in everybody's life. None of us are perfect, especially when you have a whole group of guys trying to do the same thing. It's not always going to be perfect, but I think that we've seen it. I think that we've seen a team with a desire and a hunger and an ability to win. And I think that's been an impressive thing. And I think it goes back to the closeness of our team, the brotherhood of this team. I think that that's something that is special. You don't always get it every year, but we have it this year with a tight-knit group and that closeness that we have and that love for each other. That means something. After Joey, not to go back, but after he said a couple of those things, man, I had so many of my teammates come up to me saying their own words, and I'm like, bro, don't even worry about it, bro. Like, Joey's a good dude, like he's fine, we'll worry about him another day, but what I'm trying to say is, like, they are so mad for me, and I'm like, bro, don't be mad for me. We're good. We see the film, we're good, but you see that also, when Daniel, misses a kick, man, everyone's over there, bro. You got the next one, bro. Don't worry about that. We got your back. That's on us. We shouldn't have put you in that position. That kind of stuff. You see it everywhere. A guy gives up a play deep. Yannick, I should have got to the quarterback. No, that's on me. After the game, Yannick comes up to me, first person. He's like, we shouldn't have put you in that spot, man. We should have held him to less than that. I'm like, bro, that's not on you, But you see this group that we're all holding each other accountable, and we're taking it upon ourselves. I think that's the special thing that should be highlighted.
All right, guys.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Max, there were some things said about Derek Carr after the game on Monday night by Joey Bosa, and I'm sure everyone heard it. But when something like that is said about one of the leaders on this team, the quarterback of your team, what's the reaction from yourself, from your teammates?
Oh, we don't really pay much attention to it. It is what it is. They got their own feelings. They got the win, and we're feeling the way they were feeling. So we really could care less. We're worried about Chicago, and they can think whatever they want. It's not our issue.
Next, I know the pass rush has been pretty consistent this year, but especially against the Chargers, kind of collectively as a team, run defense has kind of been an issue. Just when it comes to improving in that area, how you guys kind of approached it?
Yeah, we just got to keep getting better and better. I think we had opportunities to make plays. We just got to do a better job. Up front, as a front four, we got to do a better job. Just little things. I think we're doing a good job, but there's always room for improvement.
When you're going up against a rookie quarterback like Justin Fields and the diversity he brings with everything that he's able to do, is it hard though because there's not a lot of film to study, or do you feel there's enough, or do you go back even as far as college? How do you go into this one looking at how to sort of contain him?
Honestly, we talk about it all the time with our D-line. Like, in our D-line room, it's all about us, no matter who we're playing, to be honest. We obviously watch the film. We see what we see, but it starts with us. It starts with our get-off, getting after the quarterback consistently, stopping the run, and then, feasting. So that's what we got to do, no matter who the opponent is, and, we're looking forward to the challenge.
After a game like Monday night, is there a sense that you just want to get back on the field? Can the game come soon enough in that regard, coming off those kind of emotions and that kind of a game?
Yeah, anytime you take a loss, in a tough game, divisional opponent, it hurts. But we already have a flush. We had a really good practice today. We got a really good workout yesterday, and we're worried about getting to 4-1. That's all we can do, and we'll have our time with them again. So we're just taking it one day at a time.
Is there a different intensity though in the meetings or on the practice field this week because you're 3-1 versus not having lost?
I don't think so. I think we've done a great job, as far as the coaching staff and everyone keeping us prepared every week. No matter if it's a win or a loss, we're not going to freak out and panic and change everything. I think we've done a lot of good things. We lost the game, and I think we had our opportunities to win that game. So, it is what it is. We learn from it, we watch the film, and continue to do what we've been doing.
Players, Derek, with quarterbacks, others always say they watch people that do what they do on the other teams. Have you watched much Khalil Mack? When you think of Khalil Mack, what kind of comes to your mind as a guy who rushed the passer and gets sacks?
He's a great player. He's a Mac guy, went to Buffalo, really talented. he's been doing it at a high level for a long time. So, you know, it's awesome to see, you know, but I don't, you know, it really doesn't affect me. I'm worried about, you know, going against their tackles and guards and things of that nature. So, yeah, you know, Khalil Mack is one of those guys you watch, and he's a force for sure.
Max,
It
when
was
you watched the
after-
film, when you watched the Chargers film of the game, was there anything that stood out to you that maybe you guys needed to make an adjustment or that you can talk about?
There's always room for adjustments, to be honest. No matter what, Dolphins game, there was adjustments we got to make. Scoreboard's not, you know, the most important thing. You know, I feel like it's just doing our job every single play, starting faster, just getting out there and being consistent every single game. It starts in practice, starts in you know, recovery, all those little things. So, yeah, you know, we just gotta bounce back. We'll be fine.
Speaking about recovery, there's been a couple of injuries to the defense as a whole. Kind of, are you really excited to see some certain guys step up and really be able to set the tone?
Yeah, you know, it's obviously unfortunate, you know, seeing Trayvon go down. You know, that sucks. Hopefully he's going to be fine. You know, seeing a lot of guys go down, you know, it's a part of the game. It happens every year. And you know, it just opens up opportunities. I know my rookie year, the only reason I, you know, got to play my fourth game against Indianapolis, because somebody got hurt like in pregame warmups, and I got an opportunity to go out there and play, and I took advantage of it. So like, you never know when your opportunity, or you never know when your name's going to be called. So, you know, hopefully those guys step in and do a good job. And you know, I feel like our coaching staff and our training staff and everybody does a great job of getting everyone prepared and ready to play. So whoever, you know, gets their name called, it's going to be fun to watch.
It was after John traded Khalil, and then before the draft when you came in, and he said, you know, great defensive ends or defensive ends don't grow on trees; they're hard to find. He found you in the 4th round that year. How do you see yourself fitting into this scheme of things that John has done in trying to rebuild the pass rushing defensive end position here with the Raiders?
Honestly, I don't really pay attention. I wasn't here when that all happened. You know, people like to make stories out of anything. You know, for me, I show up every single day and try to be the best version of myself. That's all that's all I can do. That's all I can control. I don't want to get, you know, too worried about the past, too worried about the future. I just try to stay in today, be the best player and teammate I can be. That's all I can bring. And, you know, all the outside noise, I'll just leave that to y'all and everybody else.
You mentioned that you guys were both in the MAC. Do you remember him in college at all, or were you guys did you play against him? Obviously not face to face or anything, but do you remember seeing him in the game?
No, I think he was already in the league by the time I was there. He was towards the end of his career at Buffalo, but yeah, you know, I think the first game I seen him play was versus Ohio State in college, and he went off. So yeah, you know, he's a baller for sure.
Max, I think you're leading the league in pressures right now. Obviously, you had, you know, production in both of your first couple of years, but what work went into the league that you made so far this season?
So what was the last part you said?
I was saying that you lead the league in pressures right now, just overall pressures for defensive linemen. I'm saying you had a good season, obviously, in both of your first couple of years, but what kind of went into the leap that you've had so far this year?
You know, I think I've touched on it, you know, a little bit this off season, just you know, taking that next step, you know, taking care of all the little things, nutrition, recovery, just putting in extra work. You know, if we got to work out, I'm gonna find a way to do a little bit more than the next guy. That's always my mentality. Constantly doing everything consistently every day. You know, just doing little stuff, recovery, just nonstop. I have a crazy routine, and it works for me. So, you know, I try to encourage my teammates, you know, to do things, you know, like the way I've done it, because I had guys ahead of me that showed me the way. You know, Benson Mayoas and Josh Morrows and guys like that when I was a rookie showing me, you know, the ropes. So, you know, I just want to pass that down and try to help out everybody around me.
You mentioned to Vinny's question and wanting to get right back out there. Opening week, emotional win, Monday Night Football, short week, having to travel to Pittsburgh. Here you're coming right home from LA, short week again, but off a loss. Is a short week off the loss and just the anger and wanting to, you know, get back out there? Is it gonna be easier than week one, maybe just in terms of mental and that hunger?
I don't know if it's gonna be easier or harder or whatever. You know, we literally have the same mentality. You know, that's what Coach Bradley has done a great job of doing. You know, no matter if we win or lose, is not what it's about. It's about overall victory. So we're just trying to be the best version of ourselves, and that's literally starts with every single player. You know, for me, I know personally, I'm trying to be the best version of me to help the team win. You know, I got to be a great run stopper. I got to be a great pass rusher. That's what I try to be every day. So if I know I'm doing that, and Jonathan Hankins is eliminating things in the run game, and Yannick is cross shopping and getting home, like, if everybody's doing their job and everyone trusts, each other, we're going to be fine. So it's, try not to worry about all of the extra and all of the talk and the short week and whatever. We're professionals. We're more than prepared. We just got to do it every single day and show up with a, good mindset.
Of course, everybody in this league is an individual. Nobody's like the other. But just watching the film, you see Justin Fields, rookie quarterback. Is there anyone in particular when you watch the film that he kind of reminds you of, just in terms of his game or the way he approaches it?
That's tough. He's a young athletic kid. He has a good arm. I don't know who I could really compare him to, but he's really talented. He's a first-round pick for a reason. I don't know if him or Andy Dalton's going to be playing. We're not sure, but we're prepared for both. So we're just getting ready and looking forward to the challenge.
What kind of feedback have you got on the verse you dropped on Derek's album? It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good, from from the fans and teammates and things of that nature. And I think a lot of people were thrown off. They didn't know I was actually going to be on it. So yeah, it was fun to see people, happy about it.
Does it make you nervous for people to hear you, do your music? I'm sure you've done it before, but like for people to hear it and experience it.
No, I wasn't nervous. I've been when I was in high school, me and my buddy Nick, we were selling mixtapes out the back of our car. And I'm 16 years old, so we were giving it out to teachers and shit. We didn't give a damn. So honestly, that doesn't make me nervous at all.
You gonna freestyle, drop some bars?
I'm always ready. Always ready.
Let's go.
I appreciate it, y'all.